So maybe her. Well, she doesn't hold the same views as Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. But she certainly demonstrated that she was. A lot of people are talking about that Beto from Texas. Well, he lost. I mean, I don't quite understand what that's all about. He lost. So why would you think he would win in 2020? So I don't know. There are just too many of these candidates around for us to get our heads around. We even remember their names. I remember that woman's name because of how well she did in the Kavanaugh hearings. And I remember Beto because everybody was talking about him. He was going to defeat that moron.
Ted Cruz.
Cruz, yeah.
Cruz, jeez. You can imagine. Now, who would vote for Ted Cruz? I mean, this is the point I'm trying to make to you. I was reading last year an article in the New Yorker. One of my relatives is in New York, and they sent it to me after they finished reading it. And the reporter was saying, I had never agreed with Cruz politically, but I was asked by the New Yorker to get close to him and question him. And she said, when you get close to him physically, he's just disgusting. I have to say something like that. Imagine writing something like that.
Oh my God!
Wow. Said he smells. He's just disgusting physically. Now, who would vote for somebody like that? As opposed to
Texans, apparently. Texans.
A guy like Beto.
Yeah, I thought Beto was.
Can you imagine that in terms of logic?
No.
Both politically and physically. He didn't stand a chance to defeat Beto. Beto was his first name or last name?
His first. It's a nickname.
Yeah.
But he did, significantly. So those are the kind of questions and the kind of attitude you have to take when it comes time to defeat somebody as horrible as Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I called, it was time for me to pay my pre-taxes. Do you have to pay pre-taxes?
I don't think so.
I do. They want to make sure that at the end of the year you paid more rather than less because they want all the money they can get. So while I was in the hospital, I forgot to send in one of my pre-tax payments of $1,000. And when it came to send the January one, it then occurred to me, I mean, that was the last thing on my mind. So I wanted to call them and ask them what I should do. Should I send both in at one time? I called the number that they gave me, and they said, we're not answering phones anymore. So I wondered whether or not that was part of the government that was closed down.
Oh, yeah.
Then I put the letter with my check in my mailbox. One of the things about Mobile is that the post office, like down the block from where it was right across the street from that place where we used to go.
Right.
Just a very short, here you have to go for miles. So I put my mail in the mailbox, and I put the red thing up. Stayed there for 4 or 5 days, and I was worried that the January payment would be late as well. So I thought that the post office was also shut down, but they took it today. So I looked on the computer, and they just said they were on extended holiday, Christmas, New Year's holiday. So anyway, those are some of the things you should consider.
I don't think I understand what a government shutdown is, like really.
So, for example, the people who work in all the national parks
right.
Laid off during that time. It depends on how extensive it is. Apparently this isn't that extensive. But it wasn't irrational for me when I couldn't get anyone on the phone and my letters stayed in the mailbox to think that it was IRS and the post office were part of that group. Apparently they were.
I mean, I guess what I don't understand is why government shutdowns are even a bargaining chip for the negotiation of the budget. It seems...
Because they have writers. It didn't used to be a thing.
Yeah. How did that become a thing?
Because the services that they shut down means that the citizens can't get those services. And Trump wants to convince them that it's the Democrats' fault. The Democrats want to convince them that it's the Republicans' fault.
But now did you...
Workers don't get paid. And the services that they provide are not provided to American citizens.
Did you see...
So, for example, you wanted to visit Yosemite National Park, you could do that now.
Right.
Did you see where Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi had gone to the White House to have the talks, and right, and they were talking, and she quickly like slid it in there. She's like, we don't want it to come to this. We don't want to have a Trump shutdown because the people will be angry. And then about 2 minutes later, he's like, wait a minute, did you call that a Trump shutdown? He's like, wait, what did you say? he
He really is a yes.
Well, it was great to watch him because
It really does make you wonder what Plato and Aristotle were right. That democracy is not a viable form of government. But when they're right, including Trump himself, could have imagined the American people electing somebody like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the Democrats in the House are going to, according to what I read, are going to subpoena Trump's taxes for the last 11 years. And I think that when that's made public, I think that when the people see that they're paying taxes, but he didn't, I think that they'll do it. And I think that when they start subpoenaing him, he very well may just quit and go home.
Well, now that the Democrats have Congress, they have authority, and I guess Robert Mueller.
That's subpoena power, but they're going to subpoena his taxes.
More than subpoena power, though, with Robert Mueller and the House Intelligence Committee, aren't they able to do more now that? Before the threat was that they would fire Robert Mueller, right? That he would get rid of Sessions and put somebody in there to fire Mueller, but now the House can just rehire him, right? Like the House Intelligence Committee.
The Senate is the one that decides on presidential nominations, not the House.
I know they decide them. I know
that's in the Constitution.
Well, I know they decide them, but to do an investigation, can the House Intelligence Community not do an investigation? Because they have to be the one that.
It would go on for 2 years, and that would be 2020.
Well, not if they have more information than they. I guess my question is does Robert Mueller, or do they have more authority now to investigate matters that they didn't before?
They do, but they don't have control over appointments and people's fired. That's the Senate in the Constitution. It says the Senate has that power.
Right.
So they can bring information to the American people, but they can't fire anybody.
My only thought is if they can bring more information. I know it's lots of information doesn't hurt him, and it bounces off of him like.
Including taxes. We want to see the taxes. See the taxes will demonstrate that he's been taking loans from Russia.
Right.
Big time loans from Russia.
His tax fraud already showed up though, because the New York Times did that huge article back in the fall, and it got about a week of coverage.
Well, 11 years is pretty significant. At any rate, that's what is that? That's nothing new to you.
How about your grandkids? How is everything with you?
We were just having a conversation. We were hoping that the new year would bring us more luck. It's rained here for 4 straight weeks. He was telling me the same thing is going on in Mobile. The roof is leaking. Mold has developed. It's given us both bronchitis.
Oh, Lord.
So we haven't escaped all this bad luck.
How are you recovering? You look good.
Well, I think I look better. I have to do exercises and take long walks every day because this neck operation threw my equilibrium off and also feeling in my hands. So I have to do exercises every day in order to try to regain my balance and the feeling in my hands. And everything was going pretty well until I started going into these coughing spells. It happened to my wife first. Why did this happen? We don't know anybody with bronchitis, and we put 2 and 2 together, and the damn mold is doing it to us.
Yeah, it blooms this time of year, especially with all the water. Yep.
He said it's been raining for 4 straight weeks in Mobile too.
Yeah, it's like uncharacteristic, the rain in this time of year, as much as we've had. Definitely an odd weather pattern for here.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you again in the next month or so.
Yeah, we'll try to do it a little sooner now that we got the holidays behind us. We'll be in touch. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.